questions. Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Allison, thanks. In today's Health Watch, we're going to tackle weight issues. Childhood obesity is a big concern in this country right now. A recent study says a child's food preferences start to develop between the ages of 12 and 16 months. But getting kids to eat healthy and nutritious food is easier said than done. So how do you steer your kids in the right direction? Dr. Shilpi Agarwal is a physician of family medicine. She's here to give us some help on this. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, so here's the question. Does, introducing those healthy foods early on ensure that they're really going to eat healthy food? And if so, when do you introduce them?
It really does. I really sympathize with parents a lot. They get frustrated, those toddler years. They're so picky. But the most important thing to remember is that phase is only a phase. It's going to go away, and they should continue to introduce healthy, nutritious foods, starting really at the age of 1 year old, after kids are onto solids, and through that 3-year age. Kids are going to continue to be picky, but I always recommend cut up some fruits, vegetables, cheese, crackers, and put it on a tray that's at their level so that they can kind of pick at it and eat throughout the day. It's very hard for toddlers to sit still, and so having that access to the food and snacks make sure that they get full. And then one thing that parents also don't realize is that toddlers really only have the stomach that's the size of their fist. So they get full quickly, and then they also get hungry quickly again.
All right. So, what should you do then is there any way, it used to be to get them to eat something like broccoli or whatever, you would like douse it in cheese or something like that. I mean, are there really healthier ways to go around, especially if they still won't eat the broccoli or the Brussels sprouts or those things that you want them to have?
Kids are so moody. Monday, they might really love the broccoli, and then Tuesday, they don't want to touch it at all. So continuing to introduce those foods, and then also giving them things like hummus or peanut butter, maybe even something like guacamole for them to dip the food in and dip the vegetables and fruits really is something that kids find fun, and they're able to eat it better that way.
Okay. So if you're worried about your child even getting enough of the nutrients, we worry about it as adults, It's hard enough. Are multivitamins a good idea for children, and at what age do you really start introducing those?
Vitamins really, they're not a requirement, but I often really recommend them, especially for parents when they're concerned that their child really might not be getting a well-balanced diet. The age can kind of vary, but kids tend to be the pickiest eaters between 1 and 3 years old, so that's usually a good time to start introducing it. And when you are getting a vitamin for your child, just make sure that it's one that's formulated for kids, doesn't have more than the 100% of the daily values, because a lot of times we'll see that you'll have like 5,000% of vitamin C. That's also not healthy and can be dangerous. And then really try to avoid calling it like a candy or a dessert, because kids will munch on those vitamins, and it can be dangerous, as you know.
End up to a trip to the hospital. Unfortunately. Staying with the theme of healthy weight here, there's a new study out that says that shedding the weight doesn't necessarily mean that will make us happy, which is interesting. People think all their problems are going to go away. So people who weren't depressed even before losing weight in this study ended up becoming depressed after. What is the reason behind this?
I think the study is really interesting, and what's so interesting about it is that it's exactly the opposite of what we would think. We would think most times we're going to lose weight, I'm going to feel so happy, and all my problems are really going to go away. But the study, if you look at it, 78% of people reported that they felt depressed after losing weight. So to me, that's quite a lot of people, and it really highlights the fact that weight loss is not just physical, but it also touches on the emotional and the mental health component of it. That's very important not to neglect.
So what should someone do in order to prevent, I guess, sort of a weight loss letdown after the fact? What should they do to prepare themselves?
My favorite things to really recommend to a lot of patients is make sure that you set realistic expectations. So weight loss, it's a slow, steady process. You're going to lose the weight. But also, even after you lose weight, some of the stresses you had before aren't going to change unless you actually focus on them. Work stress or home-life balance, all those things are going to stay the same. So also work on that. And then also remember for your expectations that your life really isn't going to change 100%. You have to work on all those aspects, and things might not be the way that you expected them to be.
I know you had mentioned, too, that seeing that some women would say, I'll be able to get a boyfriend now because I've lost all this weight, and they thought that was the way to it, and we're disappointed.
Yeah. Studies actually show us that women sometimes feel less confident after a sudden weight loss because they're really just not used to their new body yet. And then also support is very important. Having a support system around you, whether it's your friends or an online community, any of those, all really people tend to do very well with that. And then moderation, so important. I mean, food, we get a lot of pleasure out of it. Try not to completely deprive yourself of any kind of foods, but add them in moderation, and you can still enjoy social situations with food.
All right, Dr. Shilpi Agarwal, thank you so much for coming in. Some great advice on those studies. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, Allison, back to you.